Hello, hello, hello. So you're not gonna believe this. So, so tonight I was all hyped. I had been emailing Amore back and forward this week, uh, talking about her coming on and things, and so excited. And then today something happens. So she's not on, but we are still going to talk about public relations. And if by chance she's able to come on later, we'll definitely bring her in. So come in, come in, come in. My name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the Business Plug. And you have just tuned into the Business Plugs Mixer. On the Business Plugs Mixer, we talk about business topics for business people. And it looks like Amore has just joined us, y'all. I'm excited because I've been trying to reach her. So it looks like she's here. As soon as she comes in, we're going to bring her on because I've been telling you all about her all week. And so we want to make sure we can get her in so she can talk to you about public relations because that's what this is about. This evening is dedicated to you small business owners who need to know how to up your public relations game. Hold on for 1 second. And I think she is ready to come join me. We're trying. You have to love technology. Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm so happy to see you.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much. I am very happy to be here on this Sunday afternoon. So I'm just really looking forward to chopping it up with you and just getting
Absolutely.
into it. Like, I'm ready.
Okay, good. I am so happy. I am so happy. I was telling him, I said, something must have happened because I wasn't able to connect with you at the last minute. I was thinking, oh, I said, when she comes, we're putting her on. We're putting her
Yeah. Oh,
on.
yeah. Oh, yes.
Because public relations is needed. A lot of small businesses follow me. So what you have is you have new and existing businesses who really don't, there are not a lot of public relations conversations happening at the street level where they can pick it up. And so I thought, how wonderful I can get this top of the line public relations agents to come on and talk to them about why they need your services.
Hmm. Yes. Yeah, for sure. And so I'm definitely looking forward to like offering, insight because I think a lot of times, Linda, is that people don't do things because they don't necessarily, it's not because they don't want to do it, but sometimes they don't have the information that they need to make that decision or they don't have the guidance. And so over the last 12 years, I realized that a lot of the potential clients that I've been talking to, and even some people who become clients, they were not really educated on what it really means
I
to
know.
incorporate PR into their growth strategy. And so I've had to learn that the hard way in a lot of in a lot of places, in a lot of situations. And over the last few years, I've really been excited to educate small businesses about PR and what it means and how it can really help them.
Absolutely. And so before we go there, can
Mhm.
you please tell them who you are, lovely?
Sure. So hello everyone. My name is Amore Philip and I am the proud CEO of Apples and Oranges Public Relations. We are a consumer engagement and strategic communications agency here in New York for the last 12 years. And so we service our clients by helping them to better tell their stories, better position themselves, and also really become that subject matter expert and that go to source in their industry.
I love it. I love it. And it doesn't really matter what industry they are in, right?
Well, no, it does not. But there are some PR agencies that do specialize in a specific vertical or area of expertise.
Yeah.
And so we have been really focusing on general B2B because no matter what industry you're in, it's really about understanding what your story is and really being able to put together the right strategy to tell that story.
Absolutely. And I love that you're doing B2B because that's
Mhm.
another conversation that's not being had. A lot of the business owners, especially the new business owners, people are teaching them how to do one and done. And you and I both know you cannot grow a business one customer at a time. you
There's no such thing as a one and done. Your
absolutely.
business is not one and done,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and so I'm into teaching them about creating customer journeys and about longevity, right? And solution sustainability. So not only are they able to start a business, they're actually learning how to sustain a business, to keep it going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, which you 12 years, right? So you understand, like March will be my 10th year. So, we understand that it has to continue to go and you have to have repeat customers and
Yeah.
building relationships and all of that. So I love that you're doing business to business because contracts with those businesses are where it is when you're trying to have recurrent income and you stop
Mhm.
chasing customers and start attracting those customers you need. And so you, my lady, play a big role in that attraction, in that client attraction.
Yes, absolutely. So one of the things that we really focus on, and this is something that I had to learn the hard way, is to how do you attract the customers or the clients that you want to work with?
Mm,
And not only how do you attract the ones that you want to work with, it's the ones that you can actually help. And not only can you help them, they're going to help your business grow as well. Yes.
absolutely.
So it needs to be a I don't, there's no such thing as a perfect match, but it really needs to be a win-win situation.
Absolutely.
And so that's one of the things that we try to help our clients to understand is that you don't want everybody, because when we start in business, and you know this very more than I do probably, is that when we get started in business in the first 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, we want everybody, right? Because
Yes.
we think everybody is our customer.
We're so
But
excited.
yeah, and I really think that once we understand that everybody's not your customer, there's so much power in that.
I
And
know
I
it.
help my clients to figure that out, just like I had to figure it out. I figured it out with consultants, just like yourself. I figured it out through trials and tribulations. I figured it out through eras, and I figured it out through all sorts of things that got me to this place. And
Absolutely.
so I bring this to my clients.
I love that. I love, and
Yeah.
they need it because, like you said, when you first start out, you're new business. You want the world to come. Everybody's your customer, and you're like, yes, 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 and you're cutting discounts and you're doing all kind of
Mhm.
craziness.
Oh
But
my
then
goodness.
once you,
I've done so many things I should not have done. It's just, I would need like 50 years to tell you all the things I've done that I shouldn't have done. Put it that way. Yeah.
but it's the learning process, and
Mhm.
because that's what happens when you are working with a veteran company, somebody who's been around more than 5 years, because
Yeah.
we have went through the potholes, and so we are given shortcuts, right? Because we can tell you, oh, no, 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 don't
Don't
do
do
this,
that.
don't be guilty of that. And so it's because of that expertise. I love that you teach your clients who their targeted audience is, because a lot of businesses, I have shoe people, I love them, or makeup people, and they'll say, well, everybody wears makeup, or everybody has shoes, everybody has feet, everybody. And I'm like, well, some people won't pay for this and they won't pay for that. I won't get in line for Jordans, like
No, me
there are people
neither.
that will. And so teaching them, I always go back to the Jordan story. Like if you see me in the line at the Jordan counter, it is because of my grandkids. It is not because of myself.
Mhm. Oh
Because
yeah.
that's not that I don't wear Jordans, right?
Hmm.
So understanding, like niching down, and in your line of business, that is like the foundation of them doing public relations, because you're teaching them who they need to go after, like who they should target, who
Hmm.
they should have as their target audience.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so when you talked about the Jordan story, um, you, here in New York, right? Because I'm in New York City. And so there's a lot of products that launch in New York City as the first place of exposing that product or service to clients. And entertainment, sports is one. And so I remember seeing a lot of the lines for the for the Apple products, the iPhones, the Jordans, and everything like that. And people will be in line, like sitting in chairs and, waiting for that product for them to go in and
Yeah.
give their hard earned money.
Yeah.
And so, what I say to clients is that you want to tap into that power that gives you the same effect. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's going to, at some point, it's going to give you the same leverage to where people will treat your product or service the same way. I'm
Yes.
not getting in line overnight for any product. I'm going to tell you that right now. Not even, but when you see people sitting in line and sitting in chairs and bringing food and stuff like that, so they can sit in line at midnight and wait until a store opens 12 hours later, that company has done their job in terms of understanding their consumer, understanding their target audience, and most importantly, tapping into the psychographics of their audience. And
I
that's
love
what every company who plans to be successful needs to do. And that's part of what we help you do.
Right. And the thing about it, so you mentioned psychographics because most people when they're doing marketing, they're doing demographics, right? Like when you say who's your target client, those that even know there's a difference will do demographics. And then there are some that'll do a geographics. I want the people like here in Chattanooga, I want the people in Ottawa, Signal Mountain or Lookout Mountain, the affluent people. But psychographics is a whole different game.
Oh,
because that's deeper.
it is super deep.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the most powerful things that a business owner can do for their business.
Yes.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I discovered this, not discovered it, but I started having more conversations, deeper conversations into really understanding my audience and who that audience, who is it? And so 2 years ago, I was having a branding conversation with a friend of mine who has a branding agency. And I understand branding from a surface level, right? Because as a PR person, there is a conversation between the brand and the audience and who we
Absolutely.
want to go after. But
Yes.
just like sort of on a surface level, but deep enough to where I can craft a PR strategy. And so when you understand psychographics, let me tell you, it is one of the most powerful things that you can do if you're planning to grow, that is. If you're planning to grow, if you're planning to build companies like you're doing, right? And like
Yeah.
me, and like I'm trying to do. If you're really planning to really build something to have a legacy, you got to tap into that. And you need to
Absolutely.
really have that conversation with someone who understands it and who understands your company. It can help you to put it all together so that you're talking to the right people so that you're not all over the place.
Right. And then it sounds foreign. Yeah, it sounds foreign because a lot of people aren't teaching psychographics. And then when you learn, I always take them back to the Laura Ingalls store, right? So back in Little House on the Prairie, when the people in the town came in, they knew their they knew that the husband, the wife, the kids, they knew what was going on in the family. And Mrs. Ingalls she was a busybody, but even in business,
yeah, she did. She knew who they were. She knew the kids. She knew everything about them. And so because she knew that, she was able to speak to them when she spoke to that person. When she spoke to them, it was as if her company was for that specific person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so that's the thing I think that we don't engage in enough when we're starting businesses. Like there's so much to learn, first of all.
There is, yeah. You're always learning, by the way. I keep telling people, you'll stop learning when you're not breathing. It doesn't matter
Exactly.
how much I learn. Every time I learn something new, I realize how much I don't know. And so I think learning, just like life, and as we go through life, and life is a day after the next. That's what it really is.
Yeah,
It's not the day before, because that day is gone.
exactly.
So it's really about, it's really about continuously embracing growth and knowledge, and understanding that there is no place to really get to.
Mm,
You're always going to be constantly learning. It doesn't matter if you're 5 years in business or 10 years in business. When you get to 10 years, you've really made a good milestone. You've
absolutely.
accomplished something that a lot of businesses don't accomplish.
Exactly.
And what that really means is there's a whole lot more to come. The,
Exactly.
the higher you get up the steps, there's a lot more steps to go.
Exactly.
That's how
And
I
and
look.
there's a different person on each
Yeah.
rung,
Oh,
right?
yes. Yeah. Yeah. You
And so
grow as you go. That's what I love to
absolutely.
say. And the PR person I was 10 years ago is not the PR person that I was 5 years ago. And it's not the PR person that I am today. I've learned
Absolutely.
so much more, I understand so much more, and I have so much more to contribute and give.
I get it. I get it. Because when you're first starting your business, it feels like I always tell people, if I build it, they will come. You have that whole, if I build it, people want this,
Yeah.
but that only works for Kevin Costner in that movie, right? In reality, it is a privilege and an honor to have customers. And
Hmm.
and once you learn to become a service as opposed to something people just got to come in because you built it. Once you learn that it's a privilege to be an operator of a business and to have customers who look to you, who are loyal customers that keep coming back, that is the ultimate privilege. And
Oh,
that's,
yeah.
yeah. And so it's not a given, right?
Mhm.
And so when you first start on your business, again, you have all these people coming from you don't know who is what or when or where or how. You don't have any systems in place. You don't have any operations in place. You're just selling yourself to death.
Oh, you mentioned the one of the things um that I really, when I do it, I'll just take a little step back. But when I do a consultation with a potential client, at the end of the consultation, it's usually about 15 to 20 minutes. And at the end of that, eh, over the last couple of years, as I learned more, and I understood more of the psychographics and what I'm speaking about, is that I understood that I did not need to just speak to them about what PR package they needed,
Mm,
or you're trying to do this, and so PR can help you do this. I took a step back and I understood that I needed to understand where they were as a
mm,
business. Not only did I need to understand where they were as a business, I needed to help them understand where they
yeah.
were as a
Yeah.
business, and understand the resources that they had available to them, and understand their infrastructure, right?
Yes. Yes.
And then with that, also understand their current positioning. And if I'm able to understand them in those three areas and have a conversation about that, I can help them to then get to the stage where what they came to me for was PR, because everybody's not PR ready.
Right.
And so over the last couple of years, my conversations with potential clients, or people who are not my clients, is to help them understand, number one, where are you? Where do you want to go? And how we can get there.
Mm,
So I don't just go in saying, okay, this is the PR package, this is how much it costs, this is what we're going to do. No. If you're
yeah.
not there in terms of your infrastructure, understanding your branding and positioning,
Ooh, that's big.
it's not, I am not going to be successful with you. And I don't want that kind of relationship. I want one where we both win. And
Absolutely.
if I can help us both win, I'm going to tell you what you need and where you are. And if I can't help you to get to the level to where I become essential to you, I'm not going to just, say, this is my product, this is my service, how much it costs. I'm going to say, hey, we need a little bit of help here with branding. We need to do something here with your infrastructure. Go talk to Linda. Go talk to this person, go talk to that person. Or I'll bring together those resources and say, here, this is who I recommend, this is who I recommend. And let's have the PR conversation in 4 or 5 months from now.
Absolutely.
When I started doing that, Linda, in a couple of years ago, I've been so much more successful. I've had so much more great stories to tell about the partnerships I've built with my customers.
Yeah.
And it's been a sort of a win-win situation.
And I believe that, because that's the thing, because when you mentioned, like you said, I do infrastructure. So my thing is going back, because a lot of people,
you can't build for that infrastructure.
I know.
Putting up a building, you got the right stuff at the bottom. Like,
I know, but they don't realize what they don't know, right? They don't know the magnitude of what they don't know. And so they think because they have a cash app and a product, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
I got a cash app, got a product. Let's do this. And they don't realize that the back office is everything. You have to be structured right, first of all, because majority of them are sole proprietors, meaning everything, all their assets are at risk, or their operations, they're doing everything manually when there's automation they could input, or they don't know the difference between marketing and sales, and they think that's one thing. Or they don't have a distribution channel, or they don't understand their business finances, or they don't understand that they need customer service after the sale. Like those are conversations that are not being had. And hello, Louise. By the way, hello, Louise. Thank you for joining us. And so because they don't understand the back office, the infrastructure that supports their success, right? If you get them on Shark Tank or Good Morning America or any public facing entity, they don't have the infrastructure to support that. And so that appearance actually closes their business.
Yes. And I can say that is one of the things that I am so aware of. And that's why I have those conversations. And so a good example of that, I believe, is there was a lady, it was a company here in New York, not far from where I live. And they were a cake shop. I think they did like red velvet cakes or something. And so I think somehow they got on Oprah. This is like maybe when Oprah was really hot, mid-90s maybe.
Okay.
They got on Oprah. And let me tell you, they had lines, blocks and blocks and blocks, and they did not have the infrastructure to support that. And so they're not in business anymore.
No, needless to say, no. Exactly. Because that's what happens. I am friends with Dr. Mediva, and I love Dr. Mediva. Dr. Mediva is an eye doctor that does the magnetic lashes.
Oh, I know of those.
Yeah. And so she was on Shark Tank. And she talks about overnight, like she had like 7-figure sales overnight. And she was like, had I not done my homework.
Not 6, but 7.
7. Yeah. And she said, had she not done her homework, she would have not been able to do those orders, because she had to put automation in place. I think it was a week, a campaign, like, but the bulk of it came in like in 24 hours. And had she not had the bandwidth, like had her website not been right, had her products not been on board, like if she hadn't the shipping, because you don't want to go public and then you're in back order. That is not good. That is not good.
It's not. And so, so speaking of that was one thing that I remember years ago. And I think this even happened before I even got into PR, right? This happened like in the mid to late 90s. I didn't get into PR until probably like maybe 2000. So, and then there was another example of of that I had read before of someone who they had a PR agency and they had a product. I don't remember what the product was, but what I do remember is that they got an order from Walmart. And what I understand now is that Walmart don't like say, here's a check and send us this product. No, you got to be able to fulfill that order and then pay for it, produce it, and then wait 6 months to maybe a year.
And they're not the only ones.
Yeah. And so that company too suffered as a result. And then there was those were some of the situations that I remember. And so I tell clients all the time in the beginning, that's why I have a conversation about infrastructure and their sort of brand DNA and all that. And so sometimes I get clients saying to me, well, I'm coming to you for PR. Why are we talking about infrastructure? I'm saying, honey, infrastructure is your foundation
of everything.
Of everything. Everything is built. It's like your backbone. And if you don't have that, nothing can stand. Imagine a human being standing without a spine.
Without a skeleton. Like no skeleton.
There you go. Without a skeleton, you cannot. So I have taken it upon myself over the last couple of years. As I said, I'm not going to sell my PR service. I'm going to sell building a business. I'm going to talk to people about building their business and how how they can leverage PR in their long-term growth strategy. But first, I'm going to have a conversation about you and your business and where you are so I can understand, because I want a long-term partnership.
I love it.
And that's been my approach over the last couple of years. And I have fewer clients right now, but I have quality clients that we really gel.
That right there. That is everything. Yeah. Because it's not about volume, right? No. It's not about volume. It's about you doing a service and these clients are ready to be public, to have the publicity or to have the ads or to have the whatever your organization creates in their PR strategy. They're actually ready to receive the bounty of that work.
Yeah. It's sort of like how the divine world works, whatever you believe in, right?
Yeah.
So it's how life works. It's how nature works, right? You can't get something that you're not ready to receive.
That.
And if it comes to you when you're not ready to receive it, you won't be able to accept it.
Missed opportunities.
There you go. It's missed opportunity. That's what's going to happen until you get ready to receive.
Right. And people wonder, well, I caution because I teach new business owners and, they're all glassy eyed and they're like, yeah. I want this to blow up overnight. I wanted this, but when I can slow them down and get them to actually picture that, like what would happen to you if tonight you got in 100 orders? Nothing real big, because 100 orders is not big by some people's measurements, but 100 orders could close a place if you don't have the infrastructure to support it and to get it out timely.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I have so much respect for people like yourself who help businesses with their infrastructure, because it's really so important. And I learned this the hard way over the last, I'm still learning it the hard way, but I learned this over the years. I don't care how fancy your office is. I don't care what educational degrees you have. I don't care how fancy your website is or whatever that is. If you don't have infrastructure, you have nothing.
Nothing.
If you get 1 million clients overnight, yes, you got $1 million if everything is $1. But can you live up to producing?
Oof. That's where the rubber meets the road, because if you get the orders, can you fulfill them?
Yeah, can you? And a lot of us don't think of, we just like, I need some business, give me some business. Come on, come on. We're not ready. A lot of us are not ready. I think, there's statistics to prove that
Oh yeah,
why 90, is it 90% or 95% or
it's
97?
90. It's 90%.
Okay, so there you go. Of businesses do not make it past, I don't know, the first couple of years or
It's year
yeah.
5. The first couple of years, you have about 50% close in 18 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so for me, I was like, ooh, I made it past 2 years.
I know.
It's like, oh, girl, you got to get past the first 3 years. Then I made it past 3 years. And I was like, okay. Then I made it past 5 years. And I said, oh, okay. I think this might even work out.
I
So now
know.
think about that thought process for a minute. You were doing something for 5 years. And at the fifth year, you're like, this might work out. And it's not only till I hit the 10-year mark a year and a half ago, I said to myself, this might actually work.
I know it. I know it because those statistics say 80% of those that make it past year 5 don't get to make it to 10.
Yeah.
So if you're still in danger.
So now I'm like, ooh, I hope I make it to 15. Right? That's now my big goal. And then it's
I,
10 years.
I get it. I
Yeah.
get it.
And so I'm telling people, like, if you make it past a year, congratulate yourself, be grateful,
Absolutely.
just take it all in and just keep doing what you're doing and improve upon what you're doing. And don't take on services or things that you're not ready for. But I will say this, I really wish, and you probably didn't have this luxury and I didn't have it either, but I really wish in the beginning that I had the guidance that you actually provide. Because I think, 10 years for me, I probably would have been maybe in multiple cities. I don't
Hey,
know.
hey,
But I'm just saying, like, having someone to help you with strategy and the planning and infrastructure in the beginning, it is so priceless. And I think a lot of the companies that we see that are successful, a lot of them were lucky because they did fundraising, right? They had
yeah,
seed money, they had all this, and they knew what they needed. And so in the beginning, they allocated budget for this and for PR and for marketing and for business planning and for development they had all of this because they planned to be successful.
exactly.
And so they did things, but they had the resources. But I'm saying is that a lot of us don't have that privilege or those. But I would say anyone who's starting right now, if you're in your first year, second year, third year, really look at what you want
Yeah,
and then say, okay, let me consult with somebody who really knows how to develop and to provide the right guidance for infrastructure to where you can have a viable business. You don't want a business to where you are an employee of your business. Because I did that for the first 8 years.
well, you be drugged by your business, right? And
Mhm.
I'm okay with you being an employee in your business until you can hire staff, because that's another thing
Yeah,
is
yeah.
building a team, right? So
Yes.
once you and I've learned you can get to up to 6 figures. You can get to 150,000 by yourself without hiring
Right, yeah.
anybody. You'll be frazzled, but you can get there. But
Mhm.
after that, then you're going to have to think about a team, and building that team is going to help you to have more free time, like
Mhm.
not creating yourself another job, but actually building a business, even though it's your favorite thing to do. Delegating it to somebody so you can actually build a real business. And then, okay, so I got the infrastructure. They've been to me. We've worked and worked and worked, and now they are ready to contact you and get this PR strategy on deck.
Yeah, and so that's I'll say this again. That's why people like yourself are so valuable because you're doing the work that I don't, I understand because I have built a business and that's
Hmm.
the only way I understood it because I went through the process, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
learned the hard way. But for companies, if you don't have to learn the hard way. you work with if you're really looking to build a legacy, and I say your business should be bigger than you. Number one, you should build a business or start a business because you want to create legacy and
Yeah.
that you want to make a change, right?
Right.
And of course, doing something that you love to do and that you want to do and you're good at is not enough to build a business.
Right.
So it
No.
needs to be bigger than you. It needs to be a little deeper than that. But I
Absolutely.
would say if you are starting a business, really consider, don't be in a rush. Don't be in a rush to get customers, to get it out there. Take a step back and say, okay, I know how to do XYZ, but what else do I need? What other conversations do I need to have? And I'm saying is that, infrastructure is, I would say, the most important part of any business.
Mm.
Not even, and I am a PR person telling you this, not PR, not marketing, because nothing can happen without the infrastructure.
Mm.
It doesn't matter what you do. If you don't have infrastructure, you're not ready for PR. You're not ready for marketing. You can't grow.
I know it. I
And,
know
and
it.
PR is what I start to tell people now. PR is growth. PR is for is to you leverage PR for long-term growth. So when
Yes.
you come to someone like me, it's because you're trying to leverage PR into your long-term growth strategy, not just to get on CNN or a couple of quick hits, because that's not going to carry you very far.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
And I love when you told me, you said, well, I am going to be their PR partner for life, for the
Mhm.
life of their
Yep.
business. I'm not trying to get them on one show here and another show there. I'm actually trying to create a strategy that long term.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that because a lot of times you have these media blitz, right? And it's just that period of time, your 15 minutes, and then it's over.
And then it's over. But here's what, and I think you and I discussed this in a conversation. But here's what a lot of small businesses don't understand. In order to get to be an app, I'm using Apple. I know that's a really big thing, but your Apples, your Microsofts, whatever company that is successful, your Amazons, they understand infrastructure. They understand psychographics really well, and these companies have gotten to where they've gotten to because they understood and they put value in infrastructure. And I am such a big advocate for that because I know without that I can't be successful in PR strategy.
Hmm.
And I want nothing more than to come in and work with you and have what I do and my knowledge and my expertise help you to build a business.
Hmm.
And if you're not there, if you don't have that in place, I know I can't help you to build a business because what I do is not going to work because you don't have A and B in place. I am like C. This is what I tell clients. First, there is there's infrastructure because it's
Mhm.
their foundation. Think about architects when they're building a building.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the architects design a great building, but they need the engineers. They need the people who know the engineers, whatever those people are called,
Right.
that knows how to prep and prepare that foundation for the architect to build on.
Absolutely.
But when
And
that building is done, we see a beautiful building. No one is thinking about the infrastructure, all the stuff they got to go through with the parks department, you know, the electricians,
absolutely.
the digging of the hole.
Drywall, yeah.
Nobody sees that. We just see, oh, that building is beautiful.
Because when
That's
we
the
see
PR.
that, yeah, because when
Beautiful
we see
building is
that,
PR.
yeah,
The
yeah,
infrastructure is you.
exactly.
Yeah. Mhm.
Because we see them on TV, we think we don't even
The
think
Shark
about
Tank is the big beautiful building.
right.
But think about
Exactly.
what it took them to get on Shark Tank.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so that's the thing is, we just think by the time you make it to TV, your infrastructure can handle it.
Mm.
And if it can't, then that's what that's what we find out, because the next news article says you're no longer in business.
Yeah. And it is so, yeah, because I have become really, like I said, I really, PR is so important for a business.
Yes,
And I
definitely.
understand that so much that I understand what they need to have in order to really leverage what I can do for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are the conversations that I have. I focus on winning conversations. Um, when someone comes to me to talk about PR, if we're, I can I share with them kind of how I work and my
Absolutely. Please
approach?
do. I'll
Okay,
give you time to do that. Let me do that.
okay. So when someone fills out my form online, right, and they provide certain specific information, I take that information, I ask specific questions because I want to assess who you are as a company, where you are in terms of your stage or growth, where you are in terms of infrastructure. So I may ask questions about how many employees do you have? What is your growth stage? Are you a startup? Are you at growth stage? Are you expanding? I ask how many years you've been in business. And then I also ask, why do you need PR? What problems are you looking to solve? And what is it that we can help you do? So what's your current situation? And with that information, I assess that, and then we have a conversation on what I call a discovery call. And so during that call, it helps me to get to know you a little bit more and helps me to ask you some questions about the information you've provided, and then really understand if you're in a position to where you're ready for public relations or PR, right? And I have a conversation with potential clients or with you about, okay, this is what you say that you want to do. This is where you're trying to go. But based on what you've said to me and what you've provided, I am understanding that you're at this particular level. And so I will say to them, I think we really need to work or to speak to someone who is really strategic and great at helping you with the business planning and your infrastructure. Or if they don't need that, and if they are good with that, then it may be a branding situation. Perhaps their branding is not up to par with what they say they want or with the audience that they're trying to attract. And then we have that conversation. And so if that is all good, we'll offer feedback on that. If those two things are good, then we move on to, okay, how are you currently positioned? And if they don't like the way they're positioned, or if they're looking to refresh or reposition or better understand their audience or their target market, etc., we have a conversation about that. And so usually the positioning is where people need us to help them. And then if you're fine with your positioning, then we talk about PR, right? So how are we going to position you? Is this a repositioning? Do you want to become a thought leader in your space? Do you want to become well known for what it is that you do? Do you want to own your market? Do you want to expand? And if that is what you want, and you have A, B, and C boxes checked, and you're good with that, then we go into talking about PR strategy. But one of the first things that we really do, that a lot of companies have found really beneficial, is we help those companies to assess whether they're in a position to where they're ready for public relations or ready to work with a PR agency. Because the ultimate goal, when you talk to a PR agency, you really want to look to understand, to see if that PR agency understands you and where you are, and are really looking to help you to get to where you want to go through their PR strategy. But if they can help you do that, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to talk about where you are as a company, help you to understand that. And if you're not there, the first thing that they should do to help you is to help you get to where you need to be in order to retain their services. So just, understand that you may not be ready for PR, right? And that's okay. And I'm going to tell you, companies within the first 1 to 3 years of business, I don't think are ready for PR. You need to be working on really getting your game plan the way it needs to be, your infrastructure, and understanding your customer and serving them to your best capacity.
Absolutely.
And when you got all that correct, then you can go and say, okay, I need to have a PR conversation. But I just want to tell people that don't rush to do PR, because it might not even be what you need. Yeah. So that's kind of what I wanted to offer, is that if we have a conversation, I have a holistic conversation, because your business is important to you. I know you want to be in business for a long time, and we plan being in business for a long time.
Absolutely.
And we want to work with clients that we can grow with and climb those steps with.
Absolutely. Because that's really our, their success is our success. If we have clients who are unsuccessful, then that looks bad on us, right? We're the experts. And if what we're telling them doesn't help them to build, then that's like makes us a failure. So we're invested in their success. And I love that you take because a lot of people will just sell PR. Oh, yeah, let me put you on this show or that show and put you out there. And don't really know whether you're ready or not. They just know that you have the desire.
Yeah.
And so I love that you talked about strategically using PR after you get everything else in place, because again, to get in these mass markets, it could ruin you. It could just take your whole business dream away.
But let me just say this too. Because you're 1 to 3 years in business, it doesn't mean that PR can't work for you or not ready.
Right.
Because but this will be the difference. The difference will be if you are a funded startup, right? If you are not somebody that's bootstrapping like you and I did, right?
Right.
If you're a funded startup, that's a big difference between someone who's just starting a business and someone who's a funded startup.
Absolutely.
Or have financial backing. Because if you are a funded startup, it means that prior to you getting started, you had to do the work to get those investors, to raise that money, to get that seed capital, to pitch your business to investors. And I was just at an event. It was a not Goldman Sachs, but it was Lord, I forget the name of it. It's the biggest, one of the biggest banks ever. But I was at the event, and it was a pitch event, and it was where Deutsche Bank, that was it, and it was here in Manhattan, in New York, and there were like a handful of companies, 5 to 10, but they were in fintech, these companies, and they had the opportunity to do a pitch to some of the people at Deutsche Bank or investors who specialize in seed capital. And like, I don't know, they're different series, like
right,
and all those things.
Right.
Yeah. So I started going to those meetings and events to see how the companies are pitching and the feedback that they're getting from the investors. Because one of the things that I realized that I wanted to do is not only do I want to help companies that are ready for PR with PR, but if you're investing in me and you're in my company and you're paying us a retainer per month to get you hits or media placement, TED Talks, whatever it is, it only makes sense for me to be able to help you prepare to go in front of investors.
Yes.
That way you can bring in funds, and then our relationship.
Hey, I tell my clients all the time, I want to help you make money because I'm not cheap. And so I want you to be able to afford me.
Because I want to say too about PR is that it is a long-term thing. It's not something that's quick.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when in my earlier years, I got companies that came to me and they were looking to be in New York Times tomorrow. And if they didn't get to be in New York Times tomorrow or next week, then they were gone, right? And so it took me a
It's a
while.
ripple effect, right?
Yeah, it's a
It's a ripple effect, starting where you are and then branching out. You have to build
yeah,
your ripple.
you have to build that. And so I started to really understand if you're talking to me about PR, this has to be something that you want to incorporate into a long-term growth strategy. If you're looking for something quick, I am not for you. I tell people that off. If you're looking to be in a major publication within the next 30, 60, even 90 days, I'm not for you. If you're looking to leverage the power of what I do so you can go public in 5 years, so you can attract the right investors, so you can own the market, so you can dominate the marketplace,
That's a different conversation.
that's a different conversation. That's the game I'm up to. And
Love
if you're not about that, I'm not the right one for you. Now I can help you if you're planning an event or you're doing a launch and you need to get some press there and invites. I can do that. But primarily, I want to work with companies who are looking to really leverage the power of what PR can do when they're in a position to where they're ready for that.
I love it.
And that's what I do.
I love it. That's been great stuff. So this has been a great conversation. We've almost been on here an hour. That's how good this has been. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
I can keep going. Like,
Hey, this is good stuff because businesses don't, new and struggling businesses need to know that there is a path to success.
yeah.
There is a path to success, and success leaves clues. We hear that all the time. Success leaves clues. And you think about your 12 years in business, you know what works. Like they're out here posting and tagging all their friends. and you know what will get them the exposure that they need in order to skillfully, strategically grow their businesses. And I love that when you said, just in case you want to go public, like who's having those conversations? Who's having those conversations about, hey, you want to go ring the bell at the stock market for your business? Like who's having those conversations?
Who is? Let me just tell you, if you're out here in your startup, like we understand where you are because we were there. And so we know how hard it is to get past the first couple of years. And we've learned a lot. We've made a lot of mistakes and we want you to win. And so if you can bypass a lot of those, I mean, you're always going to have trials and tribulations. Don't get me wrong. But if we can help you bypass a lot of the stuff that you don't have to go through, this is what we're here for. Absolutely. And like I said, I'm here for that. And everybody's, but there's things you can do on your own. And I also tell clients this, there's things you can do on your own locally, like in your local city. You can get the contacts of the local publications or the news outlets. And if you have a great story that's going to benefit the community, reach out to them and they may cover you. So there's things you can do when you're starting, but when you get to where you really want to play in the big league, right? Or you really are ready to grow, then you have a conversation with me. But before you do, you talk to Linda.
I'll get you ready for her. I gotta get you ready.
You're ready for me. I don't want to talk to you unless you talk to Linda. Okay?
Because she is not. She's gonna send you back to me. She's gonna say, "Go back and see Linda."
Yeah, I am here. Feel free to connect with me on social media, whatever. I am here to answer any questions and to give you guidance on how you can get to the level to where you're ready for someone like myself. But I'm here to tell you the real. This is,
I love it.
Because I want you to grow, and I want if you start a business, it's your blood, sweat, tears. You sacrifice time. You sacrifice a lot of things, and I want to help you grow.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
And so in your parting words, I'm going to give you whatever you want to say, and you want them to take that away. So go ahead, ma'am.
Here's what I want you all to get. Do not compare yourself to other people. The Creator made one you. only one you. There's nobody with your DNA, with your fingerprints. There's nobody who sounds like you. There's no other you. So don't compare yourself to other businesses thinking that, look at where they are. They got 1,000, they have 10,000 followers on Instagram. I only got 200. Don't compare yourselves to other people. And the ideas that you have that were given to you because it's for you. And so what you can do is surround yourself with the right people. If you don't have money or whatever, there's resources available, from your small business chamber, from people like Linda that can really help guide you. But don't give up on your dream. You're starting. Everybody started somewhere. And if you don't start, you will get nowhere.
Absolutely.
So appreciate where you are. Surround yourself with the right people. And I'm here as a resource. You can find me on my website, which is www.aoprllc.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn at Amore Philip. And you can find me also on Instagram, The Iconic Amore or Amore Philip.
And so her links are in the discussions for this video. So go ahead and connect with her. But she told you.
Talk to Linda.
Make sure you got it together. Look, run by me first and let me look at you before you go.
Let Linda look at you. Because if you're good with Linda, you're ready for me.
Absolutely. But thank you for your yes. And this has been so intriguing and just wonderful. We have to do this again. But thank you. I really do appreciate you dropping those nuggets and helping us to understand that PR is not just PR. It's infrastructure, it's building businesses, it's about growth strategies and all of that.
And everybody has a story to tell.
Yeah.
It's just about finding out the best way to do it and when is the right time to do that.
Timing.
Timing. Yeah.
I love it. So my name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the business plug. And I just plugged you in to Apples and Oranges Public Relations CEO, Miss Amore Philips. And I keep putting an S on your name. Sorry about that. But go ahead and reach out to her through the discussion. And then we will see you next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time here on the Business Plugs Mixer. You all have a great week. We'll see you next Sunday.
Thank you. I've been plugged in and you're plugged in too.